I finally started acting. And my first job, I was in Vancouver, and I knew I was no good. Like, because you feel like a farce. It was imposter syndrome times 100 because the first movie I ever auditioned for, I got. It's a big Schwarzenegger movie. I'm on it, and I'm sitting there, and I would go back, and it was so bad. I remember they told me, they were like, Terry, we're not going to use you for a couple of weeks. You can actually fly back home. I was like, no, I'm going to stay.
Right.
I'm going to stay. And they were like, well, you don't have to. I was like, no, I'm going to stay. I'm going to, because I'm thinking I'm going to get cut or something like that. But I want to go and prove what I was going to be the best actor of all time. Dude, so I'm up there. And I'm in a tailspin. I'm lonely. I'm hungry. I'm angry. And I'm tired.
You're not working.
Dude, I decide, and I'd been watching pornography. I decide for the first time to go to a massage parlor. And I'd heard about things, but you're like, well, I'll go get a massage. You know, you justify.
Right.
You literally justify. I went there and was unfaithful. And I was like, let me tell you, when it was over, I remember going back to my room, and I was like, I crossed the line.
Wow.
Like the line had been crossed, man. Like, even thinking about it now, it was so dark. You know what I mean? I remember just going back in the room, and I went back, and I was like, how did I do that? You know, it's funny because once you're caught out there, and the big trick is, it's right, you know, this is going to give you something, this is going to do something for you, and then you realize you've been duped. And I was in that room, and I was like, man, how could I do this? How could I do this? And I said, okay, Terry, keep this secret forever.
Lock it up.
I literally said,
yeah,
I'm going to die with this.
Wow.
I am going to die with this. And I never told her. I mean, and what was weird, it affected everything I did.
How so?
I would go home, and my wife would go, you know, we'd see something, or it'd be a movie about somebody cheating or whatever. She's like, you know what, I'm glad you didn't ever do something like that.
And you feel something in your heart, yeah. And
you'd be like, yep. Anything she would question me about, I would start arguments so that we wouldn't get that deep. You know, well, why do you think, listen, you don't have any, I would never do anything like that. Why would you even think that? And it was projection. Lots of anger, and the porn never stopped.
Really?
Because because it's not exposed. And this is the thing, she never knew who I really, really was. And I felt like, my God, if I ever tell her, if I show her, she's gone.
Wow.
So it was a farce.
So the fear of losing is the best thing you ever had. Your family, your relationship, your marriage, if you told her, but you had to hold the pain in and hold the shame in, and you felt like you could never tell her. So it was like, either way you lose.
It was all loss. Yeah. So I decided, Terry Crews ain't gonna lose. He's gonna fake it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what. And but then it all came crashing down. Now you gotta understand, like, I never went back to a massage parlor. But again, pornography. There were, like these places where you could go, and there'd be, strip clubs and this, that kind of thing. And I was just like, well, it wasn't as bad as what I did before. So you start, again, you rationalize, and you go, well, I'm just a guy. And or then you start an argument with her, and then you go, well, look, you know what I need, and you're not giving it to me. Just all this kind of like justification is what I could say. And so you feel like, well, I'm not as bad as him. And dude, she knew the whole time. Because every time you do it, you're not close. It's like you put a new brick in between your relationship. There's a new seal off. And this is one thing I discovered. Intimacy is what a man is looking for, man. I mean, we need intimacy. And what intimacy is when you can see me for who I really, really am, and accept me and love me for who I am, for real. But as guys, if we never show who you really are, how are you gonna ever get intimacy? So it's for real. It's like you're literally yelling from behind a wall, saying, "How do I look, honey?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I can't see you," but you're like, "Thank you. All right, yeah, I'm great, thanks." And you're like, "No. If you show who you really are, now you can deal." But I had a wall, and she was just like, "What?" She said, "Terry, it was this night. We call it D-Day. We're going on the anniversary of it because it was around February 4th, 2010.
Coming up.
It's coming up. And I remember the Super Bowl was coming up, and I remember it was a snowstorm in New York City. I was in New York, she was in LA. And
so you've been together for how long now?
30, we have already been 20 years.
20 years
20 years. 20 years.
She didn't know who you were?
Did not know.
Wow, okay.
And she had suspicions.
Yeah, of course.
She had this kind of thing. Exactly. And again, I was covering tracks, but man, she was like, "What is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews?" Now, another thing I have to say is that I was very successful.
Yeah.
I was very successful.
You were rising.
Oh my God.
Achieving.
Dude, I'd already been through the NFL, already done all these movies and TV shows and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Commercials. And this is one thing I tell people all the time is that success is the warmest place to hide.
Ooh.
It's so warm in here. Because first of all, remember, the image is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. So if the image is good, people are automatically like, he's good. He's got a wife, he's kids, he's got this, he's got that. Oh my God, he looks great. But inside, I knew what I was doing. I knew that my crap hadn't been exposed. And she knew. So finally, she came to me that night. And I was at the Mercer Hotel right there in Soho. Never forget it, man. In fact, I've never stayed in the Mercer since then. Simply because it was just that reminders of it's such a dark place. I actually have to redeem that place. You know what I mean?
To go there on
Beauty
the
for
10th
ashes.
anniversary.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Right, and redeem it. But what's so crazy is that she said, "Terry, this blew me away. It cracked my egg, man." She said, "What is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews?" Because we had been arguing all night. Mm. And those words, I remember just hanging up. And then I laid there in the bed, and I was like, you know what? Keep the lie, don't tell her. And something told me, man, and I ain't gonna tell you, I don't even have to tell you what. It was like the universe, people could call it was God, it was Jesus, it was whatever runs the world. Yeah. Said to me, "Terry Crews, if you don't tell her, I'm going to leave."
Wow.
Now, I was just like, wait a minute. Like it was almost like he was like, "I've been dealing with you forever, giving you a shot to tell your truth, to really just be honest. And you know what? I'm done with you." And I felt so alone. It was, man, Lewis, I can't even describe. It was, again, it was a snowstorm going on. It was like everything was dark, and I never felt that darkness, anything like that ever again. It was the only thing I could compare it to was 10 years earlier when I was in Vancouver.
Wow.
It was like the whole thing came back full circle. I mean, years later, right? I called her up. We talked again, and I told her, "Lewis, I'll never forget the gasp on the other end of the line."
Wow.
It was like, "Oh no." And she said, "Oh my God." She said, "Terry, don't come home. You don't have a home to come to."
Holy cow.
My life was over.
Wow.
My life was over. That right there, I was like, and then and this is a strange thing, Lewis. You know what I was like? I felt relief. I said, "Good.
You got it off your chest."
You know what? Go ahead and leave then.
Right.
Then you probably weren't with me in the beginning. You know, again, I still didn't want to give it up. I was like, I'll just find me another girl, and now I'll just start over because I'm successful. I'm successful. I already have it. Because see, this is the thing, Louis. Hollywood doesn't care if you lose your family.
No.
The fact that, like, look, now we can book you for more movies.
Right. You have more time.
Yeah, you have way more time. Now you're all good. And I was like, okay, I'm good, fine. And then all of a sudden, again, that voice was like, okay, Terry, but it's still you. It's still your problem. You now have no family. All you have is an image that's fake.
And some success and some money and yeah.
And I said, oh my God. And he said, Terry, you have to hold yourself accountable. And I was like, it sunk in on me that I knew. I said, oh my God. And then I called a friend because it was dark. And I was like, man, my wife left me and she's done with me and the whole thing. He said, Terry, look, I cannot guarantee you or promise you that your wife will ever come back. He said, but you have a problem and you have to get better for you. And that's it. He said, I can't make any promises. Because I was like, look, I told her and everything, so now I'm supposed to get everything back, right? No. And so I was like, I see it.